Ready or not, the season's here. How do we feel?
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, not a ton of energy in the ready or not seasons here. Injuries piling up, albeit minor, but who knows who's playing game one. Game 5 of the preseason ends in a loss to the LA Clippers. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name's Charlie Walter, host of the show. You can find it on YouTube and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Hit that subscribe, hit that like. We very much appreciate it. Now's a good time to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. What we learned from the preseason, what we learned from today's individual game, and expectations for this year. That is what is ahead on today's show. Leave in the comments on this live edition how you feel about the season starting and where the team stands. You can't take away much from preseason, but with all the good vibes and the mojo and the winning basketball that the Warriors played in an undefeated preseason a year ago, it was complete opposite this year. Granted, 3-2 winning record, but they lost to a Clippers team today that ran Bradley Beal for 15 minutes. And aside from that, it was a starting lineup of Derek Jones, Zubac, Chris Dunn, Kobe Brown, John Collins only played 9 minutes. They didn't have Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Brook Lopez. Go down the laundry list of geriatric players that they have, and none of those old dudes played. We did see 18 minutes of our old friend Patrick Baldwin. He was 0 of 5 from the floor. But the Clippers won, 106-103, and the Warriors were surprisingly very competitive even in the fourth quarter. They went 30 minutes of Steph Curry today, 20 of Al Horford, 22 of Draymond Green, 27 of Will Richard, and 20 of Brandon Podziemski. But that's it. Preseason's over. The product on the floor was mostly underwhelming, but we mostly did not see the Warriors at full strength. In the one game that we did, we saw them win. Because we didn't get Moody. We did not get Jimmy Butler. You can add Jonathan Kuminga to that list. He missed tonight's game with an ankle injury. And yeah, that's that. Curry looked really good the entire preseason. We'll get into that. But what we learned is that Buddy Hield is probably going to play 82 games this year because that's what he does. And was shocked to find out on the broadcast that Chris Paul played 82 games last year. But aside from Buddy Hield, I don't think anyone else likely will play 82 on this team. Maybe Podziemski, if he's healthier, a Kuminga. Aside from that, Jimmy Butler is already out with an ankle injury. Swelling, shouldn't be anything too crazy, but first game's Tuesday night. No update on that status as of now. Missed the preseason game today, although there were some talks that he could possibly return for this Friday game, and the fact that that was even on the table makes me think that he's probably going to play Tuesday. DeAnthony Melton will not play Tuesday against the Lakers. You won't see him until probably December or rather November or beyond, potentially December. Moses Moody, probably nothing big, but again, questionable for game one against the Lakers. He's out with a calf injury. So, yeah, the Warriors had a unique look in tonight's game. And then Podziemski to start the game. He's a rag doll. He flies around everywhere. His face is a magnet for contact. And he left. First, he got hit in the face. And then moments later, he got hit in the face again and fell awkwardly, lower body injury. And you're just, it's not Steph Curry, but still, with the way the guard depth looks, I just ran through it. You're missing Melton. You're missing Seth Curry. You're missing Moses Moody. You can't have Podziemski hurt as well, or then you're getting 25 minutes of Pat Spencer to open up the season. Not that's a bad thing. Kolsky's not on the show today, so we could say that Spencer actually had a good preseason for the most part. But Pods was hurt. Good news, just a contusion, a hip contusion, and it did not keep him out of the game. He came in and played 15 minutes from there. So big question is who's going to be available for opening night. We know LeBron most likely will not be playing, I believe, ruled out for the Lakers, so we won't see him. Luka will be playing for the Lakers. Steph, unless anything happens before then, is good to go for the Warriors, as is Draymond. But in terms of Kuminga and Butler and Moses Moody, and I guess, Horford's going to play. He went 20 tonight. So between those three guys, who is going to play? That's a big question. The other big question is, can the Warriors protect the basketball? And you would have to imagine when Jimmy Butler returns, that'll fix some of the issue. But they had 20 or more turnovers in all 5 preseason games. This is a franchise that's proven for a long time that you don't necessarily need to protect the basketball to win games. They've averaged 16 turnovers per game and won championships, but 20 or more in all 5 preseason games, a few of those games with Jimmy Butler. It's slightly alarming. But again, you're not running the same combinations. Fourth quarters, really, we haven't seen any starters until tonight. So Steve Kerr's not going to like that, but I'm not going to take too much away from the turnovers in the preseason games, especially with Jimmy not being out there. The offensive rebounds given up, however, it's somewhat alarming. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but I feel like I'm going to be alarmed when I do see them. 15 offensive rebounds they gave up to the Clippers. The Warriors grabbed 11 themselves and lost the rebounding battle by 9 to a Clippers team that, like I said, they're missing, a handful, maybe 3 starters. And LA dominated. And LA consistently has beaten the Warriors these last few seasons. Last year may have been a clean sweep. I believe it was. And they continue their dominance without most of their guys on the floor, winning by 3. Warriors shot at 46% in their last preseason game, 32% from 3. They knocked down 15 of them. They had 25 assists in the game, and they did steal it 11 times, with 3 of those steals coming from Will Richard, who again was impressive. He had 13 points, 4 rebounds. Wasn't able to hit some big threes late that could have put the Warriors in the driver's seat to win the game. But he was second in scoring behind Steph Curry, who had 20 on 7 of 16 and 4 of 8 from 3, 5 assists. Curry, when he was on the floor, the team was a +7. So you're not worried about Steph Curry. You're not worried about Jimmy Butler. You're not worried about Al Horford. There are some guys, however, you're worried about. Specifically, you got to get Buddy Hield going. He was 3 of 9 in the game today. Kind of quiet this preseason, and that's what Buddy does. He's hot, he's cold, and this preseason he did not have a game that he really lit it up. Gary Payton had 8 points, and then Spencer, like I said, played 20 minutes in the game today and was 3 of 7. Some of the things that I think we learned, Pat Spencer and Will Richard are going to play, at least day one. You may see Will Richard even get a start against the Lakers if there are multiple injuries, if a couple of those 3 that were out tonight don't return. Could be a day one starter, but looks good. I mean, his cutting and his understanding of positioning as a whole, really good at fighting through screens on defense. There was one play, though, that was very rookie mistake-ish when he was guarding Bradley Beal, and it was a give and go, and there was a screen involved. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but a ball screen was coming, basically, fought through the screen, and then Beal goes with a little give and go and just cuts, and Will Richard was kind of in no man's land, getting ready to double the ball, but he didn't get up in the man's face, and they just found Beal cut into the basket, and Richard was guarding no one, clearly his fault. But that'll happen. Did have some really nice steals. Had a nice reverse layup late off a Cryer pass. Thought Cryer made some good passes late, but I would not expect to see him to start the season and maybe not even on the Warriors at all. It did not feel like Steve Kerr gave him a bunch of run in any significant minutes, despite looking good in all the minutes that he had Will he wind up somewhere? Probably. Will it be with the Warriors? I do not know. Richard does have a nice looking stroke. If you like the quick lower release, that reminds me a little bit of like an Emmanuel Quickley, Jordan Poole hybrid, that type of shot. And I've been saying on this show for a minute that he reminds me of someone. In the last show, we went with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and we went with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and that just kind of wiry wing. He kind of reminds me of like a Jordan Poole, just the way that he moves. I remember it was the first preseason game that he went up for like a layup and, kind of dropped it in over the basket, didn't dunk it. And it was something that Jordan Poole would have done, and same size, same weight, different type of player, but you see a little bit of Jordan Poole in the way that he moves, at least I think. That's to be judged by you, though. The turnovers for the Warriors, definitely alarming. 9 of them in the first 6 minutes. They had 14 of them in the first half. Not good. But we did learn some good things about the Warriors this preseason. One of them, I guess, is Jonathan Kuminga and the role that he played and what we expect him to do this upcoming season. That's all ahead on this live edition of Locked On Warriors.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting, but getting your home ready for guests and celebrations can feel like a lot. Maybe your serveware needs a refresh, or the guest room could use new bedding. Wayfair's got you covered to get your home holiday ready. From Christmas trees and wreaths to bedding, cookware, and outdoor inflatables, it is your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and every budget. And with the free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. I love how easy it is and just how fast the delivery is, and also free, which is a lifesaver during a busy time of the year. So get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holiday for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That is Wayfair, Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. So the Lakers up on Tuesday. Want to continue with what we learned in this preseason as we get ready for 1 of 82 against LA. I think that the defense has an opportunity to be extremely good this season, like top 3 in the NBA good this season. And the additions are part of the reason why. You look at every player that the Warriors brought in minus Seth Curry, and defense is kind of their calling card. Al Horford at this age, defense, smarts, positioning, rim protection, which is a part of defense, IQ, which is a part of smarts. Those are his skill sets. And the fact that he can stretch the floor and keep Giannis from deep. Those are his skill sets and experience. And, frankly, durability. Then you look at Will Richard. Defense is probably, I'd say offensive rebounding, honestly, is his top skill set. He had a couple again tonight, I think. Had 4 rebounds total, 1 offensively, and had the 3 steals, as I mentioned. But defensively, he's just got long arms, active hands. One of those dudes, when players penetrating, he has those Inspector Gadget arms and just kind of reaches out and pokes it away. And all of a sudden, you see Will Richard going the other way. And he was putting up shots, man. I mean, he was second on the team with 14 shots today. So anyone that doesn't think Will Richard is a two-way player, they're treating him like one. They're giving him the green light like one. He shot 10 threes in the game today and hit 3 of them. So I know he only averaged 13 at Florida, and he's more considered a role player and a low usage kind of dude. But hey, in a game today, he was pretty high usage, putting up 14 shots behind only Curry's 16 shots. And then you look at the other players that you brought in. DeAnthony Melton, defensive specialist. That is probably the best part of his game, along with a pretty good shot. But Steph today, player of the game, player of the preseason. He's ready to go. We're not worried about him. He was setting good screens. He was hitting some ridiculous threes like he always does, using his gravity to find usually Gary Payton, it felt like, around the rim. That's where GP2 lives. And whenever Curry has the ball in his hands and he's within 12 feet of the bucket and you're weak side, you better be cutting. You're open every single time. You better be cutting at that point because there's confusion. Curry has it. Eyes are going this way. There's an opportunity to just get right next to the basket, snuggle up, find the window, easy deuce. Peyton did it tonight. Also, Al Horford, such a smart player. He knows what's happening with the ball screen action when it comes to Steph. And Horford came over and screened. And instead of the short roll this time, he just rolled all the way to the bucket. Steph, you know what's going to happen in that situation. Horford's man sticking with Steph. And one of two things typically happens. He does have a lot of turnovers in those moments. Doubles coming, can't necessarily get it out. But when he does, and there's a player like Al on the other end, you know Al's going to make the right play. Even if it's the short roll, he's going to kick it into the corner. Pods is going to be there for a three. So you'll take it. But Horford had an and one there. And Horford in the game today was 4 of 8. He had a preseason high 10 points. Did not grab a rebound, though. So we're going to use the same exact energy that we used on Jonathan Kuminga a couple days ago and say, how the hell do you not have a rebound in 20 minutes? Only player on the floor that did not have a rebound. So what else did we learn about the Warriors this preseason? It's truly hard to talk about what we learned because we did not see, aside from game one, the starters on the floor together or what we think would be the starters on the floor together. Felt like Trace Jackson Davis had a pretty good preseason. I don't know if it's necessarily going to matter, but he had 8 points again in the game today. He was a team best plus 10, had a couple of rebounds, had a block, did turn it over a couple times, and continues to have a foul issue. He fouled 4 times in 12 minutes, picked up 4 fouls. But again, I thought he had a pretty good preseason, and he's earned himself some minutes with the way the Warriors big man rotation looks. Quentin Post struggled. He was 1 of 6, 1 of 4 from 3 in the game today. He just had 3 points. And then Podziemski was kind of quiet. The plus-minus king, we like to call him. He was a -9. Had 5 points, was 2 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 2 from 3. Only had 1 assist. Had 6 turnovers. So by quiet, I mean he was loud. He was not good, to say the least. The last 2 games from Podziemski have not been great. So consistency. It's what you need from Moody. It's what you need from Podziemski. It's what you need from Jonathan Kuminga. Aside from keeping all the stars healthy, that is your X factor this season. Some form of consistency from those 3 players. And Pods has been anything but consistent to start his career. He has some really high highs and some really low lows, as evidenced by 6 turnovers to just his 1 assist in the game today. But you'd have to hope that he cleans it up. If not, the good news is at some point, you're going to have players breathing down his neck trying to take his minutes, from DeAnthony Melton to potentially Will Richard, even though technically different positions. But Moses Moody's going to be looking for some minutes. Seth Curry. There's a lot of guys in there that need minutes. And if Pods struggles to take care of the basketball and the playmaking's not there, then he better be hitting shots. Because if not, I don't know. Unless Melton's not healthy, that may be your guy. He looked pretty good in spurts last season and has looked pretty good in his career when he is healthy. Jonathan Kuminga, the distributor. We saw enough of him this preseason with the ball in his hands that backs up a statement that he made the other day. And that statement was, the game's really slowed down for me. It looked like it. Consistently was making the right play, not necessarily always the right pass, or the right pass, but not necessarily always a great pass. Like I think he sailed one over Pod's head one time, but it was the right play. Had a few cross-court passes that were not the right play, but he was being aggressive. And for the most part, he was looking for his teammates more than he was looking for his shot this entire preseason. Started game one when he grabbed an offensive rebound instead of even looking at the basket for a little 6-foot putback. He touch passes right to the corner where Steph's waiting there for a three. He's not always doing that. He has been buying into whatever Steve Kerr is telling him his role should be. Maybe not being in that dunker spot that he wanted to be in. Maybe not grabbing a ton of offensive boards. Did a few games, didn't a few others. But in terms of moving the basketball and not having the tunnel vision, not being a ball stopper, he's done those things. He's answered the call and given it his all in terms of this new role that he has, which is facilitator, playmaker, monster in transition. I mean, that's the best thing that he's bringing to the table. It's not in the half court. It's when you get out and run and you get it to Kuminga in the open floor. He is really, really hard to stop. The best on the team at that. I mean, Curry's up there too in transition. He's ridiculous. And Jimmy, you got some guys that could finish in transition, to say the least. But Kuminga, the distributor, I think I liked what I saw from him this preseason. Didn't have that outburst in terms of scoring. Didn't really have enough opportunities from three to see how the shot looks. It was usually like 0 of 2, 1 of 3, something along those lines. Didn't take a ton. And when he did, sometimes it was the end of the shot clock or just a wide open three that he had to take, but was not really trying to create for himself a whole ton this preseason. So that'll be something to look at as the season goes on. And then also, where does he fit off the bench? Is he playing 20-plus minutes a night? Is it more 15 minutes a night? Is it 30-plus minutes a night? Who knows? And will he be ready for game one with that ankle? That is another thing to monitor as we get ready for this preseason game, regular season game, that hopefully will not feel like a preseason game due to injuries. This is Locked On Warriors. We will continue after this. We'll talk about the Lakers and Nuggets, the two teams that are coming up this week. Also, getting into a couple comments that Steve Kerr made. One, about the future with Steph Curry, and two, about this team's puzzle and why the pieces seem to fit this season. That is straight ahead.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. It is America's #1 sportsbook, and right now is a great time to get in on the action with FanDuel because the NFL season is here, the NBA season is here, the MLB playoffs are winding down, and you can do this. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. What I love about FanDuel, parlays, live lines, player props, many ways to get in on the action. And you bet just $5 and it hits, you get $300 to use across the app. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes every game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and to get started. Woo! Hard to do those ad reads when you're holding in a cough the entire time. Do not have the cough button on the set today. We're good. Steve Kerr says this team fits the puzzle. The pieces seem to fit this year. Last year at points, he made comments about the puzzle and how it was tricky, and it felt like kind of maybe a shot at Kuminga's role. Felt like a shot at not having someone like a Jimmy Butler. But this year, I think Steve said it best when he explained how much he liked Kuminga's preseason and how he liked the fire when he got ejected from the game the other day. And it's just like the approach, the attitude, the ethic, all of it. And he is truly a missing puzzle piece to some sort, because whether he's here long-term, whether he's here throughout the season and then the negotiations happen afterwards, or whether he's traded, a good Jonathan Kuminga and a Jonathan Kuminga that's bought into his role and a Jonathan Kuminga that is getting better at his role is best for the team. Straight up. Straight up. And he's bought into this role. And that is a piece that fits this puzzle because his role is simply running the floor, using his athleticism and his length to affect the game, not trying to do too much, passing it and keeping the offense moving. And that's it. I mean, it's never been a question of whether he plays hard or whether he wants it or any of these things. It's just a matter of how is he going to play? What is his mindset going to be? And his mindset thus far has just been, hey, I'll listen to you guys and whatever the role is you want me to have on this team, that is the role that I'm, at least in the preseason, going to be working on. And again, it was a pretty good preseason for him overall. And I thought the last we saw of him before he was ejected was the best that he looked in a long time. Looked really, even when he was scoring 30 points in Minnesota, because he was doing it in a different way. We all know Kuminga can score when he needs to. And that's going to be huge in load management games. Another thing that Steve Kerr said that I thought was really interesting, I guess Steph Curry said it about Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr was asked, first of all, about the whole contract last year. Will he coach the Warriors long term? Joe Lacob wasn't willing to commit to it. He wants to see if, Steve Kerr has the energy and how he's feeling about it and still wants to do this. And Steve Kerr said he wants to, but this is something that he's going to get through the year and see how it goes and evaluate from there. But Steph Curry was asked if he would play for another coach besides Steve Kerr. And he said, obviously, I mean, I could. I'd figure it out, but I don't want to. He said, quote, "We deserve that, I feel. Things change in this league. We can only control so much, but I think we're in a very unique situation that we deserve the opportunity to ride it out." So that's a storyline as the season develops. The Brandon Pajimski contract talks, there won't be talks this season, but whether or not you deal with this same thing with Jonathan Kuminga in terms of the qualifying offer and extending him long term, and did he play well enough to, warrant an extension, or what's the deal going to be? That's obviously a storyline that'll happen throughout the season. And then the big one is Kuminga. How's he going to fit in? If he does fit in and has accepted this role and Steve Kerr likes what his role is, and now knowing what you know about ripping up the contract when the season ends, and renegotiating a long-term extension, could that actually be on the table? It seemed like there was no coming back. He didn't want to be here. The Warriors didn't really want him here. But is there a way to rekindle this thing? That's something, obviously, we're going to be keeping our eye on throughout the season. And health. Warriors are going into the year completely different than they did a season ago. The big injury entering last year was just Pods with a broken nose and a face mask on. This year, it's ankles. It's more ankles. It's calves. It's knees. It's not good, to say the least. Thursday is the home opener at Chase against the Nuggets. Tuesday, Warriors-Lakers. So Lakers-Nuggets, great way to start off the season. I'm going to make a few hot takes to finish the show today. Hot take number one, I think the Detroit Pistons are going to win the Eastern Conference. You heard it here first. Cade Cunningham, excellent playmaker. Had a 16 and 12 double-double, I think, the other night, but just so smooth, so smart, years ahead of his game. And I don't even know what that means, years ahead of his game. Light years ahead of his age. His game is way ahead of his age. He feels like he's 29 out there, and he's probably 25. But I think he's going to have the best season of his career, first team All-NBA. That's my team from the East. But it's not just him. It's Jalen Duran down low. Duran, I should say. He is athletic and bouncy of a big that also has that sort of strength and ability to guard on the perimeter and decent touch. He's a nice blend of a big traditional big, I should say, that we have not seen in a long time, and I think he's going to have a really good year. And then you got Duncan Robinson, who's able to help out with shooting. Asar Thompson, I think maybe not quite Amin Thompson, but he's going to have his breakout season this year. And frankly, they're prime trade contenders. If someone like Lauri Markkanen, if they want some spacing and shooting, if he's available, I don't think they'd trade Asar, but Jay Nivey, if Utah wanted, Jay Nivey and Tobias Harris's expiring contract, maybe that's something that's of interest. But they lose Malik Beasley from a season ago. They lose Dennis Schroeder, but I think some of the additions that they made, they're just going to be scrappy. It's when the Pistons are good, it's the bad boy Pistons. It's the Wallace's Pistons, and it's the Pistons with, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duran, Asar Thompson, Beef Stew, Ron Holland. I mean, they'll throw hands. That team is tough, and I think the Pistons, with the Magic and the Knicks and maybe even the Pacers being some other teams, Cavs too, that I believe in the East. And in the West, I think the Spurs are going to not win the West, but I think they're going to be the most shocking team. I think they're going to finish top 5. I think the Rockets look really good. And I don't know who's going to win the West, honestly. I went into this unprepared. I can't go with OKC. I'm going to go Minnesota. I'm going to say Minnesota wins the West. I think Ant Edwards is going to get it done. We're all sleeping on him. I can't say Minnesota. Rob Dillingham coming off the bench. I can't say Minnesota. Terrence Shannon, they don't have enough. We'll go Denver. Jokic, Cam Johnson, Jamal Murray, bounce back season ahead. They bring in a couple more dudes. They bring in, why am I forgetting big guy's name? Come on. From Sacramento. Help me out, chat. Valanciunas. And then also, I'm struggling tonight. But they bring in their shooting guard, Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown's back as well. So Nuggets have a nice roster. I think they're going to get it done in the West. In the Eastern Conference, I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons. Final answer, Regis. Warriors, I'm going to go third. I'll go Thunder second. I'll go Rockets fourth, and then I will go Spurs 5. That is my official Western Conference standings. 6. We're going to drop Minnesota all the way down to 6 after further review of their roster. Naz Reid, not enough. They're 6. Lakers, the Clippers 7. We'll go Lakers 8. Probably awful. Thought of that on the spot. But I do like the Spurs, and I think they're going to be a surprising team this season. And based on that experiment right there, it just goes to show you how loaded the Western Conference is. The fact that the Clippers could realistically be 7th or 5th or 2nd or out of the playoffs altogether. I mean, truly, the Western Conference is loaded this year. It's all about staying healthy. It's all about getting off to a hot start. And the question is for the Warriors, will they get off to a hot start with their entire roster minus D'Anthony Melton and Seth Curry? Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, those are the 3 we are waiting word on. And I will keep you updated ahead of Monday's game. I'll talk to you Sunday night on YouTube, Monday morning on the audio podcast platform of your choice. We'll preview the Lakers game. We'll have on a guest. And hopefully I don't have the terrible heartburn that kicked in 2 minutes into the show that makes it extremely difficult to talk for 34 minutes by yourself. So I appreciate you bearing with me on this live show on this late Friday night. Locked On Warriors, we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Season is here. Peace, everyone.